Let's go.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Welcome along. It is Monday night. It is 8 p.m, which can mean only one thing. It is the Live Lounge with me, Phill, and I'm joined this evening by Jack Garwin, and Jarleth is allowed out to play this evening. He's had his notes signed, ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome. It's lovely to be back. I'm just recovering from a busy day, Philip. A very busy day. Yeah. A day full of the gym, a day full of eating, and more importantly, what a standard in the Live League today. I do actually. I now do. But what a standard in the Live League.
Unreal. It's in the week of darts to talk about, but yeah, standard through the roof. We were just obviously teeing up the show earlier, and a week in darts, and it's been a very, very busy week. Everyone from the Super Series to the WDF stuff going on. Mad qualifiers, JDC's back. Just an absolute belting packed show this evening. I want to welcome you all in the chat room as always. You were in nice and early, all the usual suspects. So welcome along, everyone. Come and join us. Remember, get your questions in and ready for us, and we will answer everything as we go as well. We're just going to share some links on social media as always. And make sure you hit the subscribe button, and especially give us a big, big thumbs up, if you will, ladies and gents, if you love what we are doing. We'll start at the beginning. We'll go back to Super Series, I think. And before we put some pictures and that up, what an unbelievable 4 days of darts in the race for the Betfred World Matchplay Gold.
Yeah, massive. I mean, completely forgot that's where we're starting, so I'm just loading up the event now. But yeah, a ridiculous event. There were some days that perhaps didn't quite live up to that, but some days that massively delivered. And all in all, considering the gap that some of these players have had since they last played competitive darts, the standard overall was absolutely ridiculous. We saw some quality darts over the week, like we saw in the Live League today. We're going to keep pressing that because the Live League today, by the way, was bloody ridiculous. Welcome to Champions Week. But yeah, the Players Championship Super Series 4 was fantastic, and everybody that joined us for our coverage of that, massive thank you, because the 4 days were ridiculously good fun, as they always are. Can't wait for Super Series 5. Got to check I've actually got any holiday left to do any of those, though. And then we keep going for the rest of the year.
Yeah, completely. Just unreal. Like you say, it's sort of like boomed, dipped, and then finished with a boom. Did the Super Series, but the race for the Betfred World Matchplay is slightly clearer. We'll bring that up in shortly when we come to the end of the Super Series chat. But Monday seems a long time ago now when this man won Super Series 4 Day 1 or Players Championship 13. And we were not worried, but we were saying, where was Joe Cullen going to be? He missed Niedenhausen, chose not to travel. So we hadn't seen him for a while, Jar, and we were wondering how he was going to be, but the Rockstar didn't disappoint.
No, he didn't. And that's a very good place to start, to be fair. Look, what we can say about Joe Cullen is that I think he's probably, well, I mean, he's obvious. I mean, he is still number one on the Pro Tour Order of Merit. He's probably one of the best players to play on the floor currently right now. And that's a fantastic place to be. But my biggest issue isn't the fact that he's doing what he does. I think the biggest thing for me is that he beat the world number one. He beat the reigning world champion, Gerwyn Price, in the final. I know we're going to talk about Gezzy a little bit later on in the show, but I thought that was probably a very much a statement win from Joe, and also as well to beat MVG in the semi and then Price in the final. I thought that's a very telling sign. My only concern, Philip, is that what are we going to see from him when the big cameras are rolling? Because the last time we went to the Winter Gardens, he got nilled. And that's where my biggest concern is, that the Joe Cullen on the floor, I am not worried about. It is the Joe Cullen on stage that I am worried about. And I don't want him... Look, I don't think he's ever going to become a proper Ian White, but I don't want him to go down that road. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I get you.
I don't think you've got that worry. I think Joe Cullen is a completely different player these days. Winning a round at the World Championship last year was a massive monkey off his back. He went to the Winter Gardens last year with that scar tissue of the Gary Anderson match, that absolute epic that he probably fully deserved to win. Didn't play very well in the first round is an absolute understatement, and got punished for it. But the results we've seen since then, the Euro Tour success, the Pro Tour success, he's Pro Tour #1 by just over £1,000 at the minute ahead of Jose de Sousa. I don't think we have to worry about that. I genuinely think he will find his feet on the stage now. He's still young enough. It's not as if he's a player coming towards the end of his career. He's learnt the trade, if you like, on the floor, and absolutely smashed it. And can we start giving Lee Boys credit? A broken clock is right twice a day. Come on.
You know what the thing is that, like, he predicted Peter Wright at the start of the year to win an event. Then he picked Joe Cullen, and then he picked a finalist. Then he returned to type and picked nobody, and then his picks were falling all over the place. So come on, like it's the fact that you have to praise him for one good pick shows you just how poor that man is at picking events and picking winners.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like the fat kid at Sports Day, you just say well done for getting over the finish line in the egg and spoon race, don't you?
That was what happened to me over the years, Dob. I know how that feels. That's why with the gym.
Just going back to what your point though, Jar, about Cullen. The last time we saw him at the Winter Gardens, like Gob said, the monkey has gone off the back. The confidence he has got is 100 times better player than that version of Joe Cullen, and I genuinely believe he is going to be a threat at the Winter Gardens.
Well, the biggest thing for me, excuse me, is whether he actually wants to do bits at this next Super Series, because he's that far away from Clayton. Look, I don't think that Clayton's going to catch him unless he wins all 4 events, and I don't think that's going to happen. The biggest question for me is that does Joe Cullen... Well, to be fair, I was going to say, does Cullen want to go and do bits at this next Super Series? Because at the moment he's playing Peter Wright, which I still think is a decent draw. I wouldn't want to play MVG in round 2, sorry. But if he gets over that, and if he gets over Daryl Gurney and Christoph Ratajski, he's only $2,000 off Ratajski. So that means that at this moment in time that he would play James Wade in round 2. And if he were to get over the hump and beat another win on this in the Pro Tour, which is very much conceivable with the way that he's playing on the floor, he could overtake Glenn Durrant as the 12th seed. And that means you play Rob Cross in round 2 if both seeds win. So that is not a bad draw either. So it's whether he can do enough on the floor to then take that into the floor, you take that into a tournament. Because you've seen, the likes of Corey Cadby's done that for a kickoff, obviously, at the UK Open. We've seen Dirk van Dijvenbode do bits on a Euro Tour and a Pro Tour and then go and make a final at the Grand Prix. So it can be done. It's just whether Cullen can go and do it. Look, we all know Joe. We all know how much of a great bloke he is. Let's just hope that this is the start of his ascend up the rankings, because he's always been hovering around that top 16 now for about 2 years. And let's see where we go.
Yeah, definitely. Before we move on, a few late arrivals in the chat room. So let's say hello. Matthew, Paddy are in. Andy, how are we doing? Pim is in. Welcome along. Charlie as well. Man of the moment, Sean McDonald, tucked up in his hotel room. Should be in bed. Early start.
What a day. What a day.
What a week. What a week. What a week. Yes, I'm not being funny. After Monday, well, halfway through Tuesday last week, I was generally preparing a tweet to Sean saying, head up, mate, not your week. Right? Because the way Sean might have said, the way he started last week was not very good. 0 points on the Monday. Everything just looked like an absolute battle. The way he's turned it round in such a small space of time to win an event and then be joint top of Champions Week is absolutely top-notch first-class darts, mate. And can't say any more than that. The finishes in the Martin Adams game today were ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
Spoiler alert, folks. We'll talk about that later. Anyway, back to Players' Championship. And then from there, this man, Jose de Sousa, Players' Championship 14, was victorious, but he did dodge an absolute monster bullet against Rob Cross. And this is Jose all over at the moment for me. The highs are unreal. They are off the scale highs. But it's like the Big Dipper at Blackpool. Those big highs are followed by a big low. And with Jose, you don't know what you're going to get at the moment. When he's on, he's almost unplayable. But it's those bits in between, Gob, that he can be got at.
Yeah, but I think that sums up the entire world, mate. We're seeing that many games of darts nowadays that is literally impossible for the field to produce their very, very top game in, game out. Even look at Michael van Gerwen, the period of dominance he had in 2016, 2017. He cannot do that anymore. You get it thrown back at you. You're playing that many games of darts nowadays. To perform to that level, day in, day out, game in, game out, is incredibly tough, especially as darts doesn't really have an off-season. Okay, they've just had quite a big break now. But when you consider other sports where they get a break to recoup and then they try and aim for their peak performance for a certain point of the year, darts has that back end of the year of majors. But even still, that's such a long run-in, such a long time that you have to be at the absolute top of your game. And Jose de Sousa just has this ability to turn it on whenever he wants. The other thing I want to say about the game that you're saying about Rob Cross when he gets away with it is that, A, Rob Cross is looking very, very good, by the way. He's not looking exceptional. He's not chucking in the 104, 105 averages, but he is chucking the mid-90s and being very, very tough to beat. And B, I genuinely think that despite Jose not being the quickest of players in the world himself, Rob Cross is quite a methodical player. And I don't think that pace suits Jose. I think he likes to just be able to get up and get on with it once his opponent's out of the way. He likes to be able to control the hockey, control the pace. And someone like Rob Cross just takes that away from him. And we saw that a couple of times against some of the names that you would normally consider a slower opponent over the 4 days. And I genuinely think that's something that Jose needs to add to his game now, because people are going to try against him if they start noticing it.
Yeah, no, agreed. Also, in this on 14, Gary Anderson seemed to have turned a corner. Quarter-final highlight being Joe Cullen with 106 average. We've seen the change of darts back to the ones he used in, I'm going to say 2016, but somewhere around there. The ones he used in Dubai with the quite aggressive ball nose on them.
Yeah.
And it seemed to be paying dividend for him, because that's probably the best we've seen Ando in a long, long time, Jar.
No, I don't think it is. I'll be honest with you. I don't. Well, maybe the best we've seen him in 2021. Then yeah, I'd probably agree with that. But I still think that the way he played at the World Championships was very underrated. I know, I appreciate underrated. He made the bloody final, but most of that event, he looked in control, and that's where I like about Gando is the fact that most of the time he looked in complete control of the games that he was playing in, regardless of the averages and all that sort of stuff. The fact that he just looked a lot more in control, and the fact that he would not necessarily enjoy playing darts. He doesn't enjoy playing darts. It's Gando. But my biggest issue with Gando is the fact that, like, again, you talked about Jose in that. That's where Gando as well has a little bit of a problem. Because you talk about the 106 to beat Joe Cullen, he then goes and averages 88 against MVG in the semi-final. I don't want that to happen.
Running by the time you get to a semi-final.
Yeah, but if you're that point with 2 days to go, surely the car ain't running at that speed.
I'm joking.
But the thing is that, like, that's my only concern with Gando is the fact that still one day he might just have that bit of a slip. Now, don't get me wrong, the man made the Matchplay final and a World Championship final playing his lower B/upper C game last year. But if he can consistently average around the ton mark, which we've seen him do over the years, there's no doubt about that. If he can get back to somewhere near that, then I think that there are plenty of television titles with Gary Anderson's name still left on it.
Look, I think day two. Day 2 is proof that he is practicing and the practice is beginning to work. It was never going to be an instant fix 2 weeks of Ryan Searle and suddenly he's world number 2 competing for absolutely everything day in, day out. The top level of performances are getting better. The dips are becoming less frequent. Okay, the Michael Van Gerwen game is an absolute ridiculous, but he just lost his way and sort of didn't have the fight in him at that point, but he'd earned the semi-final. That's the difference. It's can you motivate Gary Anderson now? And he'll be there or thereabouts for the rest of the year. Don't you worry about that. I have no doubt he will want to go and win another world title. Because if he gets into a world final again, he'll want to be 50%, because at the minute he's got a negative win ratio in those finals.
Yeah, agreed. And then, excuse me, Players' Championship 15. This man did the double, the special one. The Portuguese man of scores went through the card. But, God, in the final, will Ryan Searle still be having nightmares about that one visit to the board where he scored 21 points?
Oh, just a bit. Sums it up absolutely perfectly. An absolute nightmare visit at the wrong time in a match where Jose didn't really take the game away from Ryan. His scoring wasn't quite there. He broke the record for 180s on this day. I think it was 34 in one day.
35,
up until 35. I can't remember what it was. But he only hit 3 of those in this final in 15 legs. I think it was 34 in 68, so he was 50%. He had a 180 every other leg for the rest of the day. In the final, he threw 15 legs and only scored 3, which means before that, he'd scored 31 in 53 legs, which is far more impressive. He had a little bit of an off game against Ryan in the final, stayed competitive, stayed tight. Ryan will be regretting that one poor score.
Yeah, massively. But that's the Pro Tour. That's the nature of the beast. Then, did this one come from nowhere? Because Peter Wright hadn't pulled up any trees going into day 4. If anything, it'd been a little bit of a struggle for him. But Jar, when it mattered, the former world champion produced the goods on day 4 of the Super Series.
Yeah, the thing is as well, by the way, it was 34. You were correct, Gob. Sorry, my apologies. Far be it from me to ever question you when it comes to maths. The biggest issue, I think, for Peter Wright, the biggest surprise, I think, for Peter Wright was the fact that he actually had to grind his way through. Okay, yeah, a couple of wins against Scott Williams and Lorenzo Prom, but then you look at Ryan Joyce with a 6-5 win there and then a back-to-back 6-5 win, against Brendan Dolan in the last in the last 16. From the quarterfinals onwards, though, it was magic. Absolutely magic. And that's the biggest thing. He looked like the Peter Wright of old. He looked like the Peter Wright that won the World Darts Championship. That's, and remember that time when he won back-to-back Pro Tours, I think just before the last match play in Blackpool, so 2019. He was the form player and he won back-to-back Pro Tours and had won, I think, 20 games straight, ridiculously like that. He looked like that sort of Peter Wright. And again, I feel as well, not just about Snakey, but I feel really sorry for Luke Humphreys here because every time that he's made a PDC final, he's made 4 PDC finals this time round this year, and every single time someone's averaged ridiculous against him. Remember, bar the Wadey one, but Wadey never averages ridiculously. Let's frank about that. But you look at Jose when he did that in Jose as well. Wasn't it the 114 average in the final back in Everhausen or something ridiculous like that? Again, Snakey here today on day 4 of the Super Series. It just happens like that. But my only concern is that a flash in the pan in terms of what's been happening this year? Because for the rest of the Super Series, let's have it right, he was shite. And that's my only concern with the Peter Wright
Series went on.
Yeah,
I disagree. I disagree. He was pretty poor.
But evidently, he rocked us on the final day and smashed it.
Yeah,
but you look at the rest of that week.
Day 3 was okay.
Yeah, okay. He made a quarter final, but again, it was nothing. It wasn't anything special on that day. Again, it was load of 6-5 wins that he managed to fight through, and then he made exit on round 1 on Tuesday.
You'd much rather see him winning them 6-5, showing he's got the fight, showing he's got that bit between his teeth to stick in there when he's not playing to the best of his ability. He's not playing to level that won him the World Championship. He's still messing around with his darts because he threw the Element 11s or whatever they are for the majority of the week. He didn't throw the World Championship darts. And even then he was tinkering around with the setups again. But he's getting away with 6-5s and getting to quarterfinals. If he'd only made one board final and then gone on to win it for the 4 days, could completely understand your point. But the fact he progressed, built up, that quarterfinal the day before with those tight runs will no doubt set him up for this, to give him that bit between him. Go on, and I'm going to go one better.
Well, the thing is that he's almost at £1 million again. He's almost at that magical million mark that he would be with Gezzy going into Blackpool. Do I think he's going to win one probably next time round when we go to Coventry? Yeah, I think he will. But my concern is that, like, on any given day, the man can turn up and throw a 90, or the man can turn up 100 and play 109. I appreciate that's half the bloody field that we're talking about this, but this is the world number 2.
That's just how darts has gone, mate. That is absolutely just how darts has gone. We don't have the ridiculously consistent types of Van Gerwen or Phill Taylor about anymore. And even then, Phill Taylor's average could dip up and down, but he just knew how to grind out wins. You just never really noticed it because he was too busy picking up trophies. I mean, Van Gerwen, in his period of dominance, got away with plenty of games, but he had this aura around him. Nobody has that anymore because nobody's managed to put it together for 6 to 9 months.
But also, you can't do that though with the schedule of darts nowadays. You just can't.
Exactly.
With the fact that there's that many Pro Tours that go on, and the fact that they're playing each other so often, and it's also whether you class the Pro Tour or not is, you know, as a floor event or this, it's still in front of cameras. People can still watch the Pro Tour and the Euro Tour, so they're still getting up on that stage. You look at the likes of Rob Cross in his debut year, was getting hammered by pillars of post by Van Gerwen throughout the majority of the year, but when it mattered. In 2018, in 2018 or 2017 or whenever it was, on the final day of 2017 of darts, in that semi-final, he got over the line. Now, look again, back to Snakey. I think that it's an improvement. Don't get me wrong; it's another Pro Tour title, which is very good. And this time as well, Bart, he's managed to keep his mouth shut, which is lovely, and not say anything stupidly controversial.
Didn't say anything controversial this time, man, which was always the start.
This is good.
No, it's not. I prefer it when he says silly things.
Oh, well, yeah,
we know you do.
Yeah, we know you do.
But off the beaten track, they're the winners. But there were some other stories in and around which we need to touch on. Performances that caught the eye, that players have maybe turned corners or done good bits. One, Adrian Lewis. 2, huge
Massively.
one for Callum Reeds after missing Niederhausen. And after Niederhausen as well, I was fearful for Luke Woodhouse because the action looked gone, the confidence had gone, but he produced some really good stuff here in Super Series 4 to get over that. So I thought that was those 3 in particular caught my eye away from the winners.
Luke Humphries,
you missed a couple
as well.
Yeah, Luke was solid. Dirk van Dijvenbode showed some consistency without getting over the line. Steve Beaton needs a massive, massive shout because he was one that 3 months ago we were sat here suggesting that we're not sure where his next board final is going to come from. The form didn't look there, and we were genuinely concerned that Steve Beaton was about to give up his tour card and be no more in the PDC. Well, the last 3 Super Series have proved us wrong massively. He's been absolutely superb.
Yeah,
another one. By the way, I know we touched on him briefly, but as you talk about Mr. Robert Cross deserves a big shout out as well. Properly for the way that he's played throughout that entire week. That's probably the best, most consistent I've seen him play since the Matchplay of 2019. I know the European Championship he won that, but like there were some games where he was a bit up and down with it. The Matchplay was probably the most consistent time that I've seen Rob Cross play together and put together something like that. I also really want to. I was going to say Ryan Searle, but he made a couple of quarterfinals. I don't know whether Searle needs to get there. I don't know, but anybody else? Anybody else in the chat room? Anybody else who we needs to talk that we've missed?
Rodriguez.
Potentially? Yes.
The RJ doing absolute bits.
Rusty in particular was superb. Man finished, where is he? Man finished 20th on the Order of Merit. That's not bad.
I tell you who else had a really good week, I thought. His name seemed to be popping up absolutely everywhere. Steve Brown had a really, really good week.
Yes,
yeah, agree. Yeah, agree.
A fantastic week.
Luke is in the chat room as well. He's just given us a thumbs up and a love heart, which is always nice.
Cheers, Woody.
Going back to Adrian Lewis, is this the time, or is it another full storm? We've seen this over and over, or has the penny dropped now? Is this the resurgence of Jackpot, one of the most talented we've seen ever, languishing down around the 32 mark, or is this the start of the revival, Gob?
I think it has to be the start of the revival if he's got genuine aspirations of staying in that top 32 and competing and getting back to being in contention for major titles or for titles full stop. I don't think we'll know until the next block if it's just a 4-day block of form or if it's genuinely something turning the corner. Luckily, we haven't got a massive amount of time to wait to see that. I mean, I think everybody, apart from maybe Luke Woodhouse and a few other the pros that might be in the chat or not, will agree that Adrian Lewis playing well is good for darts.
Yeah.
Because we love it. Like, everybody in this chat room will love him. Adrian Lewis in full flow is magnificent.
One more I want to give a shout out, by the way. One more. Just come to me. Super Ted. He's finally looking like the player that we know he can be. After the defeat to Fallon, he, let's be frank about it, fell off a cliff a little bit. But that week in MK has got him back into a potential. I mean, looking at it, I've just got to the World Championship race. He's currently 32nd on said World Championship race. That is a big thing. If he can get back to the World Championships, that would be huge for him. And also, as well, talk about Jackpot. He's now actually currently seeded number 32 for the World Championships. And that was someone. Yeah. Remember when people going, "Oh, will AD make the World Championships?" Yeah, of course he will. I mean, he's now got up to $9,500 after this week. Man's now comfortably going to Minehead. So all of this and all this sort of stuff, everyone looking at it. Sorry, mate, go on.
Man's hot.
Absolutely, man is very hot. And at the moment, if he continues the way he's going, genuinely, he could. He needs to win a Pro Tour in order to get to Blackpool. Do I think that he could make... I was going to say Dublin, then. It's not Dublin. Are we talking about that? Can he make the World Grand Prix? Yes, I think he can.
It's going to be interesting. I think... How good would it be if he could just make Blackpool somehow sneak in the back door?
TJ just said that in the chat. He said if he gets to last 16 in the first round of the next Players' Championship, I think he makes enough points to make Blackpool # bold take. That is a very bold take because he practically does need a win overall. Last 16s will not get him there.
Definitely.
We've got it there, but we'll go better. I've been working on a few bits, as you can see. We can now bring this up.
Yay!
Transition.
It's what we do. So, the race for Blackpool is now there on your screens. We've had this debate over and over. We've had time to think about this. Has our opinion changed? Are there only 2 spots available on the Pro Tour Order of Merit?
1 spot.
Brave.
I don't see how all of maybe Bunting might get 23 if he does well. I think Wattamina will just about be safe. It won't be pretty. It will be like the 6th, having that 6th chair on the X Factor for all of our UK viewers that watch that show. I think Jermaine is just safe, only just. But I think 23 will be enough. But he'll be sweating throughout the majority of the day, right, and the majority of the week, to be fair.
Gob for you?
I'm going conservative. I'm saying potentially 3.
No, Searle's there.
Searle's there.
Searle's there. 25 grand will comfortably get you in. Comfortably.
I'm not so sure. A win for Adrian Lewis or Ryan Joyce or Max Hopp won't be there. Ricky Evans, Jeff Smith, Simon Whitlock, Raymond Van Barneveld wins another Pro Tour. Cap firmly amongst the pigeons if Bunting or Clearmaker have a run, or Rasma or Watermain pick up a bit more. I'm not saying Searle is in until at least the end of day 2.
I think he is.
Until it's not possible. Look, I'm not saying that over the first 3 days of Super Series 5, we're going to see Adrian Lewis and Raymond Van Barneveld win Pro Tours. But there is a likelihood we're going to get a slightly diminished field.
Hope one of them wins. Hope one of them doesn't.
Yeah.
I hope one of them wins the Pro Tour.
We know about you. But there is a chance we get a slightly diminished field. Some of the top boys may choose not to go, given COVID restrictions still at the minute, and they're already in the match play. So why risk that if it means there's isolation periods, which we're definitely not getting into, given the Scotland news this morning and Nathan Aspinall last week. And it just means that these things are a little bit more likely.
And also, very, very quickly as well, just very, very quickly on this one as well. Sorry to interrupt, Phil. The top boys at the top of the Pro Tour order of merit, your Devon Petersons, your Dirk van Dijvenbode's, they probably won't go. There's no need for them to go. They are comfortably into
Devon
Blackpool.
Has to go. We'll come on to that in a minute because that's on my list in a minute. But out of the chasing bunch here, who is most likely to gate crash the last 2 spots?
Are we just going to be simple and go with Bunting and Clearmaker, or do we want to go a little bit more rogue than that?
Who do you think? Open-ended question.
This is a difficult one.
Well,
if Adam Hunt can get back, then I think he's got half a chance because I like the way he throws. I like the way he plays. Whitlock as well, definitely got a chance.
Yeah,
and I'm going to go a little bit further down. And I'm going to say Big J-Lo as well. I still maintain that he's an absolute quality player, absolutely quality player, and I will die on this hill.
But at the minute,
I will die on this hill.
At the minute, I don't think he's got the pedigree to go and win a Pro Tour. If you're going further out, they have to have the pedigree to win a Pro Tour to get them in. We always see somebody come from ridiculously afar in the last week before a major. It's guaranteed to happen. Bunting and Clearmaker are absolute obviouses. I'm not sure Labanauskas is playing well enough, or Willie O'Connor. Jamie Hughes had a good run, but he had a bad week. He looked very, very good in Niederhausen. Not so great this week. Your 3 outsiders are Barney, Whitlock and Lewis. They've been there. They've done it before. They've got the ability to turn it on when they need it.
See, the one for me, though, is you just touched on it there, is Willie O'Connor.
I really hope that Barney can do it.
Every year, he pops up with a final or a win as it was last year. Every year, William O'Connor pops up and finds something at some point in the Pro Tour. I'm not going to say it's going to be in Super Series 5, but at some point this year it will happen. It will pop up in a final.
The only problem with that is that if he does pop up in a final, that is probably the most left field shout of the way that he's been playing. Because out of the last 2-3 years that he has been playing, this is probably the worst form that I've seen him on the Pro Tour in a long time. He did not look good at all. He had a chance to get up into that top 16 on day 3 when loads of people fell at the wayside, apart from Bunting, obviously. But he could have easily got there. He doesn't, at the moment, have the ability to go on and win a board very often. And that is a problem for the Magpies. Same with Darren Labanauskas, same with Jamie Hughes, same with Andy Bolton. If you told me back in November that Andy Bolton would be making the match play, I'd have told you you're bonkers. Because Bolton at that time was playing some really good stuff. But recently, his form has dipped at just the wrong moment. It's the same in a way with Alan Sousa, because Sousa had a fantastic start to his Pro Tour career, made the last 16 in the UK Open, dipped slightly. Barney, we all know about it, winning Pro Tour 3. Since then, barely done a thing on the Pro Tour. That's the biggest problem, is that I'm seeing far too many of the lads who are around that 16th spot at the moment. It feels like nobody wants it, Berzi. It feels like nobody wants that 16th spot. It was Bunting's, it was Marder's, it was Darius's, it was Stephen, it was Bunting, it was Clearmacker's. Everyone's going, now you have it. No, go on, you have it, you have it, you have it. No one could put together a solid enough run to go and do it, which is good for us because it makes it interesting. But that's my only concern. Again, we talked about the consistency level goal.
Right,
yeah.
we've done the highs. Now the lows. There was some very disappointing performances across the 4 days, and I'm going to start with mine. The one that disappointed most of all, and I think you two will agree. And are we worried yet about Big Dev? Because it's not happened. Niedenhausen, we were like, yeah, it can happen. But this time around, the averages weren't great. The performances weren't great. What has happened to the African Warrior God?
Wish I knew the answer, mate. I think Devon wishes he knew the answer. He has dropped off significantly since effectively 10 months ago. He was massively in contention, doing bits and calling out some of the best players in the world. And at the minute, I think there's plenty on the Challenge Tour that would fancy giving him a game. He has hit a massive, massive dip, whether that is action-based, whether that is psychological, whether that is because he's just changed equipment again to keep up his brand identity. TJ mentions he's been back in the comms box this year as well so far. It's been a massive, massive turnaround from the position where we expected Devon to be at this point in the year. The 180 hitting has just disappeared. The grouping's not there. Darts looks to just be a massive struggle for him at the minute.
Mm.
Yeah, it's worrying. Who else for you disappointed, Jar?
Well, I don't even call it disappointment, but remember when people, I don't know. Do you know what? Sorry, I'm going in a fishing mood tonight, Barzy. I apologise in advance, and I really do. But remember when people were going on Twitter about how wonderful Arambini had done in Super Series 3? And saying, I think I once saw one tweet that said, "All hail King Beanie." Won £500 this week. Let's just take a step back on this one, can we? Just for 1 second. That'd be great. On a serious note, though, another person disappointed me. He disappointed me most of the year, I think, and that's Baggish. Danny Baggish. We saw what happened at the Super Series, and we saw at Q School. He just hasn't looked the same since he won his tour card. Who else is well? Watamine has disappointed me massively. He's fallen off a cliff, same as Jeffrey Deswan. There's a few that are properly out of nick, really out of nick, and you just think it's just one of those that. It just doesn't. I'm just not sure on a couple of players.
For you, Gob?
Kim Hybrex at the minute seems to be finding ways to lose from unlosable situations. He's looked very good. Actions look decent. Gets to a World Cup. Looks unbelievable. Looks like he's going to kick on again and doesn't quite manage to do it. Mervyn King didn't have the best of week. He looked like he was in a good position day 1 or day 2, I think it was. Didn't really see his name about a lot more after that. Daryl Gurney is in a lot of trouble. I thought, given the World Championship performance and a little bit after that, we were seeing a bit of a resurgence from Super Chin. That seems to have completely dipped off. No Ratajski in the last 8. That's a massive surprise. He's not hitting the heights that he was last year. I don't think James Wade had the best of weeks either, to be honest. Could have been better.
I mean,
do
we talk about...
Anyway, so...
Yeah.
Do we
Andrew
talk about
Gezzy
Gezzy or do we not?
As well. Yeah. Does that arguably the worst player at the whole Super Series? Look, it's hard not to agree. Are we worried that this is a full-blown crisis yet? Or can he still work this conundrum problem out in his own head?
No. Look, this is harsh to say, but the minute you're pulling out and openly admitting to everybody you're pulling out for a lack of confidence, you're putting yourself on the back foot immediately. That's absolutely the worst play to do. Don't say you're taking a sick day. The way that it was announced was bad, and that tells you everything about where Glenn Durrant is at the minute. He's talking about going into coaching in 2022, which means he's not expecting to keep his card beyond that by the look of it, or he's just expecting to move more time around that. I genuinely think, though, coaching would not be a bad thing for Glenn Durrant. He's been there, he's done that, he's got a very mechanical throw. He has openly admitted that he's used a sports psychologist in the past to help him win Lakeside. He's pretty much got the experience of all the ups and downs. And do you know what? It would be a distraction from his own game. And that is what Glenn Durrant needs back in his life. I'm absolutely convinced of it. I've said this multiple times as well, so people listening are probably bored to death of it. But we've seen the likes of Darren Webster didn't work when he gave up his job. Johnny Clayton is still trying to work through it and that sort of thing. Glenn gave up his job and then he sought refuge in his social media, I think, as a little bit of a distraction. He had that bit of banter and to and fro with Matt Edgar that got a little bit close to the line. The DRA got in touch with him, was pulled back from that by management company and family, and he has absolutely no distraction whatsoever. So the minute you're in a dip, the only thing Glenn Durrant has to think about when he gets up in the morning, when he goes to bed at night, and everything in between is practicing darts, playing darts, and at the minute, how badly he's playing darts. And that will be dragging him down like the biggest weight on a man's shoulders you have ever seen. Absolutely no issue with him pulling out because he doesn't feel great and it's an absolute battle. But don't admit that because everybody in the field knows that now. All right, some people could have guessed it. Some people might have seen that you're struggling anyway. Done a lot of press. The Premier League obviously wasn't great for the defending champion. But the minute you put that on socials, you're up against it the minute you step back in that arena because your opponent knows the minute you miss a double, they've got you.
The biggest issue for me, though, PB, is that he didn't... Because I don't think it is a crisis. I just hope it's not the expectant now when it comes to Duzza, because we can all point to when he got COVID, and obviously it takes its toll on people. From what I've heard, I've never obviously had it, but and all that. But the form when he went in after night 9 of the Premier League was not good. The actual night on finals night in the Premier League wasn't that good. Grand Slam, Players' Championships, still coming up from COVID, fine. World Championships, made a third round, decent enough. And since then, it's just tailed off like that. And this is where I wonder whether this is a little bit of a thing that we sometimes maybe get a little bit overhyped, because the first 2 years, as you've always said to us, Barzi, and people, again, you're probably bored of hearing this, right? The first 2 years in the PDC are great, because you're not defending anything. It's a free roll. Pressure comes when you have to defend. And when you have to defend that money. And this year, as we talked about it, Does us defending a World Matchplay semi-final, a World Grand Prix semi-final, and a World Championship quarter-final. That is a lot of money, lads. That is a lot of money.
It's about
and so because
grand.
of that, there you go. And that's my biggest issue. My biggest issue is that I don't know whether we will see the Glenn Durrant that literally, when I say lit up the Winter Gardens, we were there, Barzi, for the majority of the week. We saw what happened. That Blackpool crowd took to him like they took to Philip Douglas. That's a very rare thing to happen. Apart from the one woman who said, doesn't do it for me, and he put that on Twitter as his profile header for a long time. That was very funny. However, for the majority of the crowd, they took to him. They took to him like he was one of his own. And I just wonder that if they can get behind us like that at this year's World Match Play, whether that could be the spark that he needs to get back into the form that we saw in 2019.
From Duzza.
The thing is, to go into that, one more on Duzza, to go into that environment, for the crowd to accept you, you have to be a little bit outgoing. It's incredibly difficult to do that when you're struggling. Adrian Lewis on stage has been completely different to what we'd have seen a decade ago. There's no swag about it. There's no I own this place about it. Rob Cross is very similar. The on-stage demeanour of Rob Cross, the reactions, the emotions drop when you're not playing well. And they're the things that the crowd will get behind. From dart one, you have to go onto that stage believing you're going to win the match and believing that every single time the opportunity comes, you're going to take it. And that's when the crowd will get behind you.
From Duzza, we go to a man that we spoke about on the last live lounge. We didn't know what to expect after 90 days away from the Oki. But the world champion and the world number one, the Iceman Gerwyn Price, returned to competitive action. How would we sum up his 4 days, gentlemen, apart from Instagram famous?
Well, any money that he did make has now gone into the DRA Christmas Fund, hasn't it? Because he loves the money.
Yeah.
And do you know what? In that moment, you can't quite begrudge him for being frustrated. If you haven't seen it, the bounce out on the bullseye is absolutely plumb in the middle. It hits a dead spot. But that happens with all boards. That happens with all manufacturers. I'm not just going to sit here and back them because that's what the PDC is. I think the Unicorn HD2 boards get a far worse rap than what they actually are because they're the ones that we see it happen to on TV. In terms of results, Gezzy had a really, really solid week. I think it was better than what a few people expected to find himself going deep, especially on day one, was a little bit surprising for me. I just didn't think he'd have been playing, to be honest, with the building work and everything that he's been doing and his other projects. But he came out, looked good, was there in the difficult moments a lot, apart from that bounce out. And even then, he's hit the ball pretty much against Kyvenhoven on day two. He looked solid. He looked top 16 comfortably.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I think, okay, so he gets to a final, first day, yeah, great. But the rest of it, and I know we talk about moments like, we talk about the Instagram famous and all that sort of stuff, but 3.25 grand to take back, yeah, solid enough, but is that good enough for the world number one? That's what we have to judge him by.
9.25k over the 4 days. I think that's solid after 90 days.
Yeah, but take the $6 grand out when it came to the final, and it's 3.25k over 3 days. I'm not knocking Gezzy because obviously it takes a while to get back into the rhythm. But what I'm saying is that we have to judge him by the world number one standards. We have to judge him by the standards that we would do for Michael and for Philip Douglas. And I don't know whether 9.25 grand is, he'd have been wanting at least 10. He'd have been wanting at least to win.
After 3 months out of competitive action, I think that's acceptable. I genuinely do.
I'd take 10 grand for 4 days' work.
I took 20. I took 22 for answering a phone call, God. But we can't all be good.
All right.
Sorry.
I think he did well, and I must admit, on day one, I loved the fact that tongue in cheek he wore the Premier League shirt as well. Genius from the Iceman.
That was very good. That was funny.
It is and it isn't. Right, it is and it isn't because for me, the way the PDC have pushed Price is the media attention that Gerwyn Price got after he won the World Championship was massive for darts. It was ridiculously good. To find himself on Soccer AM is superb. British people understand that. Those watching from outside might not, but it's one of the biggest social football TV programs in the UK. Saturday morning, absolute prime slot before kickoffs. Absolutely perfect. The minute Gerwyn Price is not world number one, if he keeps doing what he's doing and being that little bit destructive to what the PDC are trying to achieve and being that bit rebellious constantly, the minute he's out of favour, he's going to find it very, very difficult to still get that attention, to still get those endorsements, those deals, those things on the side, those media attention. They're not going to put him up for it. They're not going to put him up for it.
All publicity is good publicity. If people are talking about darts...
So why is Michael Smith not in the World Series?
Because he hasn't won TV titles like Gerwyn Price.
Because there isn't a World Series at the moment.
No, but when they were about the last time the World Series announcements were announced, why was Michael Smith not in there? Because he went and criticised them. If Michael Smith gets and drops off again, he won't be in.
No,
he did.
He wasn't anything to do with that gob.
Oh no, he criticised Rodney on his Twitter. Agreed. But
it wasn't just that though as well. It wasn't just that. And let's be frank about it. If he was in the top 4, they wouldn't have been able to leave him out. Simple and as plain as that.
But
get in the top 4, win a TV title. Win a TV title, you're in. You're going to be in. Price at that point had been in the top 4. He just made a World Championship semi-final. He'd also just retained the Grand Slam, producing one of the best.
I'm not comparing them to. I'm not saying why was Price in over Michael Smith, but Michael Smith was very much the favourable future face, being young and 180 hitting for fun and that sort of thing. Made a couple of comments against them, wasn't picked. If Gerwyn Price keeps doing the same and is no longer in that position where he holds a world title or where he holds a TV title, as you're saying, and other people do, Gerwyn Price will find it very difficult to get those opportunities.
Once you've won a world championship, everything changes.
Correct. The opinions don't look. They don't think like. They don't take your opinion as they don't take your opinion as gospel, but your voice is louder once you've won a world title. Except
once
if your
you
name's
win a
Adrian
world
Lewis.
title, things change.
Except if you're Adrian Lewis.
Before we move on, just a few quick hellos in the chat room. You have all been absolutely outstanding. We promise we're not ignoring you. Just a lot to talk about, so we will come to you. But Paul is in. How are we doing? Birdie Boy said it's been a minute. It certainly has. Welcome along. Nathan and Denver is also in as well. Right, we're going to do but we'll do a week in darts because a lot has happened as well. First of all, PDC did make an announcement regarding the World Matchplay and tickets. They are waiting for some clarification from the government, but the first weekend, at the moment, they think it's going to be a reduced crowd, and season ticket holders will get priority, they've said. But from Monday onwards, they are expecting a full house. And again, we're critical of the PDC, but we also recognise when they've done well. Their communication in all this regarding tickets has been absolutely second to none.
Yep, agreed. It's been and we know Philip, you know Mr. Matt Porter very, very well. If him, Eddie / Barry can work with the government to get those first 2 nights and those first 3 sessions of the tournament involved with full capacity, they will find a way to do it. Maybe they might just go speak to the government and go, look, do you know what? We're going to have full houses anyway from Monday. What's the bloody point of not having it Saturday and Sunday? It doesn't make any sense.
Aren't they pushing for... I fully understand it's outside, but aren't they pushing for higher capacity at the European from the quarterfinals onwards and at Wimbledon? So if they grant that and not the PDC, admittedly, outside and inside, big difference, but for the sake of 2 days, when they're granting higher capacity events for other sports...
Wembley is going to be 45,000 and Wimbledon is full capacity, I believe.
Yeah, full capacity for the finals weekend, yeah. That's 15K.
But that's
15K.
Yeah. Yeah. Will Porter will be on the show before. Yeah, yes, hopefully I will drop Matt a message and see if we can sort something out. We'll do this one first because this is a bit of a somber moment. This happened early last week. Sadly, the passing of PDC Hall of Fame referee, Mr. Bruce Spendley. And it was a sad moment for the sport. That voice is synonymous, iconic. That 180 call will never, ever be forgotten. And, of course, he called Phil Taylor's last ever World Championship win as well. An iconic referee of the sport sadly departed us, gents.
Summed it up perfectly, mate. He was absolute wizard with a microphone. I think once the PDC started going down the sort of razzmatazz route that they did and the marketing structure, Bruce bought into that as a referee, which is difficult to change what you've been doing. And it just when you're a referee, when you're an official who shouldn't be noticed because you should be doing your job perfectly, but you can still add to the moment and you can still add to the magic going on. That's a massive, massive piece of praise. And Bruce was absolutely brilliant. He changed the game almost. He changed the face of refereeing. And it's a massive part of the PDC's development.
I mean, you think about this very, very quickly. You just think about this very, very quickly. The man refereed a world championship every year from 1980 to 2013 when he called his last world championship, when he called MBG versus Taylor in 13. So that's 33 years. To do a job for that long and still be... It wasn't like he slowed down by the end of the time he retired. It wasn't like he started missing numbers or missing anything. He was still, by far and away, one of the best referees in the PDC at that moment. Look, he is the voice for me. Like, I know everyone talks about Russ, and Russ is a legendary voice, but this bloke, Bruce Spendley, was outstanding. Remember the first half of that World Championship final, Barzy? Taylor against Barney, him calling that in. And then it was Russ that took over.
No, it's just iconic. And for everyone at Online Darts, sending their condolences and love to the Spendley family at this time. A true gent of the sport has left us, but he did the sport a massive, massive pride, and congratulations to him.
He'll be calling those 180s in the sky with Eric and Jockey at the moment in time on that darts. So they needed a referee. They needed a great referee to call in all the 180s that Eric and Jockey will hit, and that's what Bruce will be doing right now.
Yeah,
with Sid on commentary for everybody else watching.
Yeah, with Sid and Dave Lanning on commentary. Christ,
yeah,
what a game that will be! What a game!
The JDC returned this weekend as well, and the new advanced tour that they've introduced, and by Christ, did we see some numbers from these young men, and a welcome return to form and the spotlight for Leighton Bennett. It's been a difficult 18 months for the young man, and everyone forgets how young he is. Burst onto the stage, did some great things. Then when he lost at the Indigo, didn't go particularly well for him. Form wobbled, but it looks as if he's used lockdown wisely and came back this weekend. And that game with Luke Letter at the weekend was just absolutely unreal, God.
There's a reason I don't play anymore. There's a reason we just sit on our asses and do this on a Monday night. Because there's kids 10 years younger than me smashing in 96 averages over a best of 15. No. Absolutely no. I want absolutely none of it. The standard is absolutely scary. One of the lads that I referee for, Derbyshire men's A county player, ridiculous player, Henry Coates. He made a last 16. That was the best he could do. I know he's been injured foot-wise, but if he's only making the last 16, I don't want to play anymore. I'll give up. I'd throw my darts in the bin, but I'd miss.
Yeah, huge talents like Nathan Kerr as well, doing bits and bobs. I must admit, I like the fact they split the JDC tour now as well. So there's the Foundation Tour and there's the Advanced Tour. I think it's a really smart and clever move from Steve Brown and everyone connected.
Big shout out as well to Connor Hopkins, obviously won the other event alongside Nathan Bennett on the Advanced Tour as well. So huge shout out to him for winning event number 2.
Yeah, I was just getting that one up next on me.
Oh, there you go. Oh, there you go.
I agree with the split though, Barzy, because I agree with the split because there's such a difference in ability at that age. The JDC is there to help kids learn the game, basically, and there are some guys that have basically completed the game already. Leighton Bennett is a ridiculous talent. Luke Littler, Nathan Kerr, they are all fantastic talents. But if you're coming up against them in round 1 every time that you've travelled as a family, you're not going to go back very often. So to split it makes absolute sense with the range of ability that the JDC attracts. And it just gives everybody the best opportunity to learn to thrive ahead of hopefully making that jump to the PDC Development Tour, playing youth county, representing England in the nations for the WDF and that sort of thing. There's just so many pathways these guys can take now, but it is the perfect place to start.
And interesting as well, he can go to Q School this coming year because he's 16 on New Year's Eve. It's been a long wait for him to hit that magical age. First person on to sing at 13.
It won't be funny, but can you imagine playing against him on the Dev Tour next year? You'll be thinking, oh, fuff. If you draw him in round 1, I'll happily put money on him winning a Dev Tour title next year. I'll happily put some money on that. Because he will be
the Dev Tour titles are hard to win. Hard to win.
They are, but that kid has got talent. That kid has got some bloody talent.
So did Justin Van Tagal, who was as hotly tipped as Leighton, and he has yet to win a Dev Tour.
To be fair, though, half the time he hasn't had a chance, really, because most of the year it was like the Dev Tour last year was gone. So he could have done some bits there. But look, I think that this kid, Nathan Bennett, even. Leighton Bennett. Yeah, Leighton Bennett. I'm trying to say 3 bloody people's names at this moment in time. I'm King Barry in the bloody chat room. No, Leighton Bennett is someone very special. He's probably the most talented darts player that I've seen since MVG came down from when he was 18. I don't think there's been a brighter talent than that. At that age.
I'd put a certain Irishman in that bracket as well.
No, because Keane at that age, I don't think Keane was at that level. I'm not suggesting, by the way, he's not talented. I think he's extremely talented and will be a PDC tour card holder for years to come. But at that age, I don't think he was as talented as this kid. He's special, very special. Against Barry Keane, yeah, absolutely against Barry Keane.
Also, loads going on. We had WDF events going on in America and everything. Amateur darts, really good weekend for them. The mad stuff in Gibraltar as well. Their first ranking events, which was fabulous for both of them. But God, I've put you off long enough now. We can put it up and we can talk about it. The standard this morning in the online darts live league was nothing short of breathtaking today.
Mad.
Champions Week delivered.
I finally had a day off from work, so it was just on in the background. I'm not gonna lie, there are some days where I have it on while I'm working anyway, but don't tell anybody that. But I managed to just sit and watch it out and out this morning for a large part of the day, and it was absolutely ridiculous. Every game had something. Some of the averages today were better than what we saw at the Pro Tour comfortably. The checkouts, I've already mentioned Sean's game against Wolfie, where he took out a 1-4-3, a 1-2-9, and a 1-1-9. Absolutely ridiculous. Saw Cullen Osborne come from 3-0 down to win 4-3 and just not give up. Conan Whitehead was a dart away from averaging 113 and lost that match 4-3. Sorry, Conan. Just ridiculous day of darts. It's been building up to this as well. We've seen glimpses from every single one of these players over the last few weeks in qualifying for Champions Week. And my God, did they deliver today.
James Richardson averaged 101.74 for the day and only won 2 games.
Yeah, thanks for coming, mate.
Poor bloke.
Remarkable.
Josh is at home laughing, going, that serves you right for that 9 darter.
Yeah, that was something special today. I was trying really hard to follow it because I was actually in the office today, so I couldn't really follow it completely. But I managed to catch up on it on YouTube because if you notice on YouTube, obviously, for people who don't know, we put the whole stream up there so you can watch it all the way through. Don't have to worry about clipping games or anything like that. And we can literally watch the whole stream through. And my biggest thing to take away from it was just how incredible these players actually were. I've seen some people on Twitter have a bit of a go at the live league and all that sort of stuff, and I've just gone, do you know what? Actually, when you look at the players that we've got involved in it, and the players that are delivering day after day after day in this format, it's incredible. And I know Sean's still probably in the chat room let's be frank about it. He was sensational. He's been sensational throughout the last week. But today, in particular, the way he fought that through today was absolutely brilliant. I can't wait for tomorrow. I get to watch them. They're going down to London tomorrow, so I can't wait to actually watch it on the train down. I'm buzzing.
Yeah, it was just the standard was absolutely through the roof, and you think we've still got Chaz Barstow to come in. Richie Burnett takes his place in there as well.
Can't wait.
Some of the names
the Prince
that
of Wales
we've got to come in are just absolutely unbelievable, and Champions Week has lived up to the billing. Of course, if the 6 that get through to Saturday will be playing for £10,000 on Saturday. So hang on to your horses there. That is for sure.
Just to put that into perspective, put that into perspective. You have to win a day on the PDC Pro Tour in order to win that amount of money. Put that into perspective.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, massively. So there we have it. Right. You know what we're going to do now, guys, don't you? It's time to open the chat room. Question time. Get them in. Now we're in your control. We've done the roundup. We've done the week in darts. Now it's over to you guys in the chat room to take us wherever you want to go. And remember, make sure you subscribe and drop us a like as well. Only 28 likes, guys. You can do better than that. Come on. So
the biggest thing is a couple of quick questions in the chat room were asking about who will win television titles this year. Specifically, 2 of the greatest to ever do it. Michael Van Gerwen and Gary Anderson. Will they win TV titles? I've seen that come through. Jonathan asked about Gary Anderson. I've seen I think someone asked me whether I think MVG will win a TV title this year. I've got to say yes, otherwise Barzi will kill me. No, in all seriousness, right, about MVG, I think MVG, I don't see him winning the match play. By the way, are we talking about the Grand Prix or are we not? Because obviously we broke the news yesterday. So are we talking about that?
There's nothing really to talk about at the moment, is there?
Well, we know it's happening in Dublin, and we've heard that it's going to be happening in Leicester. So if it is in Leicester, then what I'll say is that MVG quite likes that venue. It's where he completed the green sweep.
Yeah.
So I think it might be the
Grand Prix.
Yes, but it might be where he might. Yeah,
because of mental mania domination. Your favourite player
Wild in Cardiff.
Christ, Brighton wasn't it? Brighton where he won that one. But yeah, no, he completed the green sweep, and he's still the reigning Champions League of Darts winner. So because of that, hang on, sorry. Would you back MVG at 10-1 not to win any title this year? Floor, Euro, TV Major. James, I'll give you a little bit of a betting tip on this one, right? If you put £10 at 10-1 on MVG not to win a title this year, what's going to happen there is that you'll lose £10. He will win a title.
Like you said that, he's not going to win a thing. Will he?
I will put my mortgage.
World Cup doesn't count. When Dirk Van
Diverberg
Dijvenbode carries him to another World... When Dirk Van Dijvenbode carries him to another World Cup, that doesn't count.
The World Cup counts. But no, he will win a title this year. Fact. I would put my mortgage on that.
I think he wins one. I think we saw signs that he's not a million miles away from doing something. I'm talking about Gary Anderson. I've seen enough. I think he might. I saw enough.
I think he will.
Practice sessions with Ryan Searle beginning to work, and I think he might nick one.
He found himself in the 2 biggest events of last year in the final, where he had absolutely no right to be in either of those finals. If he puts it together on a European, well, it won't be the European Championship, but why is that the one I've offered? Players Champs or something like that. Who knows?
I mean, we're doing another breaking story tonight, Gob.
Yeah, solid. Up the Euros.
So, yeah.
God, questions have gone berserk. Questions have gone absolutely berserk.
It's good.
James now says 25-1 to back MVG. You're still going to lose £1 on that, mate. You're still losing £1.
Hang on. We don't promote gambling on this channel.
No, of course not. We only promote gambling. That's all we care about.
Yes.
That's a massive joke, by the way. If you haven't seen it, if you don't know why, then just Google. Just Google it. You'll find it.
And you're in the majority,
right?
Considering the numbers. Next, who wins the match play from Ollie? Are we going early?
Gezzy.
We're going to change our minds about 6 times before we actually get to that. We've got another block of Super
Gezzy.
Series. Then we'll have a prediction or preview show.
Yeah.
Are we putting an early name out there to change our minds on?
Of course, yeah, let's do it.
All right.
Gezzy finally does some bits in Blackpool.
Michael Smith.
You can't put...
Oh, Barzy,
mate, come on. To be fair, I thought he picked the other Michael.
You know, that moment there felt like I was watching England-Scotland again. Waste of my time.
Right, you guys are absolutely smashing it again. Right, let's
Any news on the European tour? No more news yet. When we get news on the European tour, we will dish it out 100%.
I mean, we kind of know where it's happening. Everybody knows where it is.
I think everybody knows where it's happening until it's officially announced. We're not going to say, the next one is
giveaway as well to the PDC press release that after Super Series 5 on the Friday, there will be a minimum of 3 European Tour qualifiers.
There might be 3 back-to-back Euro events happening in the same place. Who knows?
And I like how it says minimum of 3 as well. Not 3, minimum of 3. So,
there's obviously the Kazoo European Championship coming in sooner rather than later. So there has to be more.
What sponsorship deal that is? Better than bloody Cinch anyway. They're bloody everywhere.
They'll be the next sponsor of the World Championships, mate. That's how it works.
Oh yeah, Ryland Clark presenting. No, thank you. Next. Who is the most this says who is the most overweighted world champion, but I think it means overrated.
Overrated.
Overweighted, Andy Fordham. Overrated.
Not a bad shot.
Love big Andy, by the way. Won the first world title I saw.
Overrated.
I don't think you can be a world champion.
You can't ever be overrated to be a world champion.
Right.
You just can't.
Don't know. Christian Kist is a world champion.
No, look, you still have to win a world championship. To win a world championship takes some bloody doing. I can't think of anybody that's overrated. Certainly as a PDC world champion. There's only ever been 10 of them.
Yeah, for me, there isn't one.
Someone said to me.
Go on, John.
Yeah, sorry, just a quick one. James is still going on. James is still asking me how far I want to go for the betting market around MVG not winning a title. Mate, I don't gamble anymore. I've had some great fun gambling, but I don't gamble because we don't promote gambling on this show.
Connor says, now Eddie is in charge, would you like to see him introduce new formats, Ryder Cup in brackets? Look, I've been banging on about the Ryder Cup of darts for ages. I would love to see the Ryder Cup of darts over a weekend.
The only problem with that is that genuinely, where the bloody hell are we fitting it in the schedule? Because at the moment, we always talk about
the Grand Slam.
It's easy to get rid of the Players' Championships.
No,
not the players. Have a word with yourself.
Yeah.
When we don't need a World Series anymore, we can do it then.
And also, the Players' Championship Finals means we're not. Players' Championship Finals means we're not going to Minehead, and that is a travesty. Bugger off.
Yeah.
Once is enough.
Whose pasty them seagulls going to nick, Jack?
Please.
Once is
another
enough.
Another one in November.
Nathan says,
where are we?
Who are you letting in the Grand Slam to replace the BDO picks? This year, I don't think there will be any. I think it will be filled with... I think there'll be 2 women from the Women's Series again, and then the rest will be filled with qualifiers from the qualifying event.
I can't... Look, you know me in the Slam. I think it's just no. Just no. I'd happily get rid of it. If you had to ask me, what's that?
I was just thinking more qualifiers means there's more chance to see Wayne Jones at the Grand Slam, like we somehow seem to manage every single year.
Man has a great run on Grand Slam.
It's like his World Championship, the Grand Slam World Qualifier.
It is actually, to be fair.
Good one here from Melky says, will we ever see a World Series event in Canada? I'm not sure because look, I don't know the politics about all this, but I think it was speaking to Jeff Smith about it and the guys from the CDC. It's all very political in Canada between the different states or province, whatever they're known as. And I think it all gets a little bit messy up there. So I'm not sure, if I'm being honest.
And it's bloody freezing.
Yes.
That's
too cold.
I still have my shorts and flip-flops on.
Not in the press room, you're not. Dave Allen will kill you. Also, one that I saw up here, where was it? Was it about Ian White lost 7 times in the first round of the last Players' Championship tournaments. Look, we've said for months on the stream in the Super Series that he's bang in trouble, hugely in trouble. Because the thing is as well, he's lost where he would get most of his money, and that's the Euro Tour. Yeah, okay, the Pro Tour was where he did his bread and butter, but the Euro Tour was where he would go and reach a final day and then go and do bits and go and win 25 grand.
Always on the final day, always. Another one as well says, do you think Merv King will ever get over the line in a PDC major? Sadly for me, no, I don't.
No. He had his chance. He had 2 chances last year. Players' Championship final. Thing is, as well, that in that final leg against MVG in the Players, he only, I say only, as if I say I could throw a 15-darter. Of course, I bloody couldn't. But he only needed a 15-dart leg to beat MVG. Only. It wasn't like he needed a 12 or an 11 or a 10 or whatever. He needed a 15. A 15-darter would have done him. And that it seems like that again with Clayton at the Masters. He just fell off a little bit across the line.
Here's an interesting one. I haven't seen the question, but I'm going to ask you because I've just thought of it. Now that Dirk has overtaken Baninoppet, are Holland the favourites for the World Cup again, in your opinion?
No. Next question.
Who is that?
They're still third favourite.
Wales, easily.
1, the defending champion.
Comfortable favourite.
2, Scotland.
Are you presuming
if
that
Gary and
Gary's going to
Peter
get on a
go.
plane then?
But say Peter as well.
Or newly christened Scott Andy Bolton. I think the English have got a good chance, and all you know.
No, they don't.
No.
That'd be silly.
Yes.
But no, look, I'd probably make them second favourites, but a very long price second favourites behind Wales. They have they have the number 1 player in the world and the best player currently in the world. I don't care what any ranking says. No, do you know what? I can't be asked. I can't be asked to go into it because it really winds me up. How can you not have Clayton as the best player in the world? The man has just won 2 of the last 3 TV titles, including the biggest one of all. And Jose de Sousa goes and wins back-to-back Pro Tours and is now considered the best player in the world. I don't get it. Don't get it.
Sean says, who would Portugal's second player be? If it was the same as last year, and because he went to Q School, it would be Jose Marquez?
Yes.
Really
he hit a 9,
impressive.
remember, of course, at Q School.
Yeah. Yeah, Jose Marquez would be the one.
Is that how we do pronunciations now, Phil? Just pretend we're going to throw up halfway through their name.
Marquez. Roll your R's.
I can't do that. I saw a couple further up that we missed. One was about, do we feel the DRA get involved too much?
Yes, I saw this.
Oh yeah, from Reese.
Are we allowed? Okay. What? How can we say this without being totally.
No, they do.
I don't think they do.
Oh, no, I think they do on certain areas and not enough in others.
Yeah.
Is that a fair one?
Yeah, that's fair.
I think they have to exist. They have to get involved in certain aspects, because if you don't, then if you don't punish things at the start, things get out of hand or things become acceptable. And if you don't punish it the first time round, somebody else does something the next time round. It affects somebody's performance. There's a complaint made, then you have to make action. And it's like, well, why did they get away with it last time? They're not everybody's cup of tea, but organisations like the DRA have to exist. They simply have to exist. So it would be an absolute free-for-all. Nobody would ever get punished for anything, or it would be subjective at the PDC board, and then they get accused of favouritism.
Yeah. No, yeah, look, I think they do great for some stuff, but other stuff, no. I think it's wrong.
I mean, let's be frank about it. The way that they treated Gezzy initially before he got his fine halved, the way he treated Gezzy for that was ridiculous. I think that they're not. If there's one thing that the DRA are not, it's consistent. They hide behind. They don't announce some fines and they announce others. It's just nonsense. Either go full hog or don't.
Yeah, look, stuff should be that there should be case notes every time they sit that are released on time, not a year later.
Yeah, nonsense.
Like the Darren Gurney iPad was only just released in the game. We all knew about it, and it's kind of funny. But it's like that. Things like the note should be released earlier.
Yes.
And look, the one that I can't get my head around is the bans that McKinstry and Wessel Nyman got. Bang on, no issue with that at all. But the two lads
Absolutely
from
right.
Australia, 100%, no. But the two lads in Australia that conspired to fix a result of the match to sort both going through with no ban. It's like, well, hang on a minute. It's like, just don't get it.
I can't remember who that was. I don't want to drop names if it's not them either.
No, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember the incident.
Hang on a minute. I'm on the DRA website now. Have a quick look at this. Was it? David Platt and Steve MacArthur.
Knew it was Platt. I just didn't want to drop his name in it.
I mean, you're getting $750 for fabricating the result of a match, and Gezzy
Australian dollars.
Yeah.
Sorry, and then there's
a big A in front of it.
Gezzy shouting a little bit. 22.5 grand for that initially. Do me a favour.
Hey, that was two offences and social media.
Yeah, Gezzy's fine. Look, it was ridiculous, but it was 3 offences rolled into one.
Mm.
But it was
supposed to set a precedent to cut it out from the game, and then it got reduced, and then it didn't happen. But that is the thing. Would you rather watch MVG averaging 85 or Justin Pipe averaging 115? Well, we all know what Phil's going to say.
MVG averaging 85 because it will still be quicker. It will still be quicker than Pipe averaging 115.
Correct answer.
All day.
I agree, but I just hope it's against Gary Anderson and he's dishing him up.
Can I just say, by the way, going back to the DRA, I think the funniest ever thing that I ever saw was Nathan Richards after Minehead. Not the
silly boy.
Not the video. That's not funny at all. But what he actually put on his Ladbrokes UK Open sign at the time is genuinely unbelievable. If you can find it on social media, please do. It will give you such a laugh.
Also, as well, something that comes up in our chat room quite a lot is Corey Cadby. And those that are friends with him on social media over the weekend, the board is back up. Target have sent all the stuff over, and the board is back. Those always ask about
It is.
Corey and where he is. So there you have it. We could see the return part 3, 4, 5, and 6 of the King.
Yeah, definitely. Where else are we looking then? Other more questions that we have?
There's loads in it. You guys are absolutely smashing it.
Yeah, brilliant. I love the fact that people actually care about what we think. I still can't quite get my head around that. Jonathan, in terms of predicting the TV titles, no chance am I doing that, because we could be in a position
world
where
titles.
No, there's another one as well about the actual around the TV titles as well. I hope the PDC that's suited do the walk-on is playing for the Worlds. Yeah, more bits and pieces, more of this. That'd be great.
Does it involve
Okay, Parmesan says, no. Have you never? Did you not see it the UK when he walked on to bits and pieces against Dave Chisnell? Absolute banger, by the way.
You saw what my UK Open was like here. I had screens everywhere.
That is true. To be fair, we can remember that from the stream. Parmesan says, do you guys think the Pro Tour money is in a good relation to the money earned at TV tournaments? So I don't know what you mean by that. Like, what do you think that Pro Tour money is fair and balanced in comparison to the TV tournaments? I'd probably say just about, yeah, because you make your money by doing well on TV. What I would say is that I would absolutely love the fact that if the other tournaments meant as much as the World Championships in terms of the ranking. Like, it's too top-heavy, reliant on the Worlds. And I get why, because it is the main driver to the product. But we need to have... as I keep saying, that the Premier League is your second biggest TV ranking money. Sorry, biggest TV money, non-ranking money even. Of course, you have to say, non-ranking. When that's 250 grand, that's your second biggest tournament that you pay out for. It's just not good, I don't think, to enhance your product. Because you think about Price now, boys. MBG or Wright would need to win the Matchplay, the Grand Prix, probably the Slam, All Players Championships, and probably make a final of another just to overtake him for the World Championships. It's nonsense. If you win the World, you're world number one basically the entire year. It shouldn't work like that.
Agreed. Showcase, we've already done this one, but we'll go over it. So my question is, who under pressure at the next Super Series makes Blackpool? Like we say, there's two up for grabs, we think. Clear Lewis for me.
He also asked about who his the next debut winner of a major is going to be. And I think that, I hate to say it because I don't like agreeing with you. But the man I think that's, well, actually, no. Do we count, we go down the hashtag what's a major debate. Johnny Clayton will win a ranked TV title before Joe Cullen wins a TV title. But whether we class that as a debut TV title, I don't know. But Joe Cullen's the next cab off the rank.
I think Joe Cullen will win one this year.
Get them brushes out. It's a sweep.
But hang on, though. Again, where we come back to is this. Do we class Johnny Clayton as winning a ranking title as the next major? Because I think that Clayton's probably going to win a ranking title before Joe Cullen wins a title.
Jarleth.
Has been around long enough. The Masters has been around long enough, it counts.
I'll refer you to type.
And I was talking about the Premier League goal.
When they put graphics up on screen...
Oh, yeah, that too.
It says TV titles won. So Mr. Clayton is already in that bracket.
It's a nonsense when we know it. Someone's also saying about Dirk. Yeah. Dirk's got half a chance, but completely forgot about him.
Could go mad at any point.
Yeah. Smith
I feel
wins
like
a
Dirk's
TV major
B
before
game
Cullen.
is dropping off a little bit.
Smith wins a TV major before Cullen. Barzy, have you taken over Jane Smith's chat function tonight? No, I think the thing is about Buddy Boys. Everyone might call him a bottler, but to be fair, right, in the 3 TV finals that he's been up against MVG at the time was the best player on the planet, and Rob Cross, who was a former world champion. All players above him in the 3 TV finals that he's been in, and Peter Wright, who was the defending world champion at the time. So it's not like he's been playing anybody that's below him. I just think that do I think he'll get over the line? Yes. Do I think it's going to be this year? No.
Oh, Sousa's walk-on does involve bagpipes. Get in.
More of this.
More bagpipes.
Yay.
How good would that be? Well, mind you, though, after the weekend, who was still singing "Oh Flower of Scotland" for like 2 days afterwards? Because it just kept going round in my head.
Singing F off Scotland. Sorry, Sean.
Just kept going round my head. That one.
Ryan Searle, Dan says, Matt Edgar says that Ryan Searle will win the match play. Look, Searle's got half a chance. I mean, he's a 4th round at the World Championships, for Christ's sake.
Got to get in first.
On the draw that he gets.
He's in.
Stop being
right.
Stop
and if
being
hang on. If a Nathan Aspinall happens to him,
he's still in.
Not impossible.
Hang on a minute. What about Wade? Surely he must be a TV title contender. He won the most recent one. The most recent ranked one went to Wadey.
Hey, it was. I tell you what, it was telling that in his post UK Open Championship victory, he said he had his eye on another match play title, not a world title, because set play he thinks is absolute toss. But Matt's leg play, he loves Blackpool, he loves the leg play, and he loves the Winter Garden.
Just a shame he won't
That's
win
his
it.
name on that trophy. Ginger mess. Michael, friend Michael.
I've gone fishing there, and I've
what day is it?
Fish. Wait a minute. I've just reeled in the absolute whopper of the big fish there. Come on,
he's reeled in the big fish. He's reeled in the big
Jack,
fish.
can you do me a favour? Can you work out how many days it was since James Wade won a title? Because Michael Van Gerwen hasn't won one in 214 days.
Ooh.
Shall I release the James Wade highlight reel?
Why'd you do that to the man?
Because it'd be funny.
Yeah.
Oh, dearie me. Nice. Hang on. So hang on. When was the UK Open? It was Hang on. UK Open was 7th of March, wasn't it?
Did he win a pro tour after that?
No, hasn't won one this year. I just looked on the list.
Sure.
He won one last year.
Jonathan says, whose legendary walk-on was better, O'Connor or Hendo's? I'm guessing you mean Hendo Part 1, because the one first time round absolutely blitzed the second one.
Easily.
The second was crap because they tried to replicate it.
Right.
They just tried to do the same.
Two answers. I've got a bit of a double-edged answer to this one. Being live in the venue, William O'Connor's was much better because in Aberdeen we couldn't hear the piper. The first time round, the piper wasn't going through the speaker system or anything in the venue, so you couldn't hear it. And then when I looked on social media, everyone was going, "Oh, this is amazing!" I was like, "What?" And when you watch it back on TV, yes, agreed, it was amazing. But being there, it wasn't the same effect. So from a venue point of view, William O'Connor's literally was spine-tingling being in the 3 Arena that night.
So, just look to, by the way, it's 106 days, Gob. Just to let you know. 106 days.
So less than half. Double the amount of time for the Green Machine, Philip. just let you know. And by the way, the answer to that question is either. The answer to the best walk-on of legendary walk-ons is Chris Dobie the first time he used Hollywood.
No.
Every week.
I mean, local hero wasn't bad either.
I know he sometimes listens. Please, Dobes, wherever you play, walk on to local hit. Just walk onto it. It doesn't have to be in Newcastle. Just walk onto that because that was mint.
Also, as well, I mean, to be fair, coming on to No Limit was a belter as well. Right, where are we? I mean, to be fair, I think we might be done at this point. I think we might be done for the night at this point.
Let's give them 5 minutes.
Hang on, you ain't been here for 3 weeks, and now you're trying to bunk off early. What is this half-assed crap?
Yeah, who are you?
I've got an angry orchard waiting for me in the fridge. Other ciders are available. Again, if Angry Orchard want to sponsor the show, I'd absolutely love that. Free Angry Orchard every week being delivered.
To be fair, though, whilst we're talking about walk-ons, I still can't believe that, although it was brilliant, that they got away with playing Willie O'Connor's walk-on song, bearing in mind that some of the ones that aren't allowed to be played in other cities. Don't get me wrong, it was genuinely amazing, but I can't believe they got away with it, considering what songs are banned in other cities and everything like that. It was like...
Well, the best thing about it is the fact he still uses it on the Euro Tour. That's what I love about it. He still doesn't...
The Euro Tour, anything goes. We have F&C bombs being dropped by the DJ at 3 in the afternoon. Anything goes on the Euro Tour.
That's true, to be fair.
The Euro Tour DJ is an absolute god. Bit of Van Halen just every 3 hours.
We have Wu-Tang Clan Gravel Pit blazing out at 1 o'clock, the uncensored version of the screen. It was like, whoa, where's this coming from?
Love it.
And can we all just say this now very, very quickly? Because I know that a lot of the Euro Tour boys do watch the show in terms of the people over at PDC Europe. Get rid of the 180 song for 2021.
No, 180. Yes.
No,
yes,
it's got to go.
180.
No.
It's got to go.
Just so you can see that you're right, raise his eyebrows.
Yeah.
Less of this needs to go, or rewrite the bloody thing.
More of the 180 song. In fact, I think Mensa should walk onto it in TV tournaments.
No, you bloody shouldn't.
I think it should play every one in the country.
Yes.
Well.
Oh, speaking of which, has there been any communication about the online darts Pop World Tour for 2022?
Still waiting. Did you not see my last message?
Yeah, I didn't know if there's anything from there.
No, still waiting.
Because this could be mint. The Pop World Tour coming to a Premier League city near you.
Oh, please!
They just don't know about it. They just don't know about it yet.
But we're pitching it to them. Believe me, we are pitching it.
We are trying to pitch it. If anybody wants to join us, on the Pop World Tour, let us know on Twitter or something, so we can back it up to say that we would get people in the venues.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dance routines are optional.
You got more of a chance of us retweeting you if you do.
Yeah. James says, do you guys know there is a greyhound running every week at Romford called Hendo? No, but I'm going to have a look. That's cool. I like that.
Captain Hendo, up the Jordan.
He's
Stop
shy.
it.
And so are England.
Snooker Loopy.
It's there.
I Jonathan says, will there be a guest-based online darts pod? Probably the answer to that is probably no. Because, look, and forgive me if this sounds like a bit of a dig, it isn't meant to be. When I say that the rest of the darts pods, as good as they are very guest-based. We just chat. I mean, the fact that you still want to, after nearly 9 months of watching us, or nearly a year, to be fair, it's nearly a year to the day since we did the first live lounge. The fact that you still want to watch us chat nonsense about darts after all this time has kind of made us want to stick to this sort of a format. And I think that for us, what we're looking to do is that, like, when the big events come along, we'll play you the interviews that Barzi does in the press room on the shows, on the review shows that we do all the time. So, you know, have I just absolutely Horlicks that? Or not?
No.
All right, okay.
No, I'm just laughing at the most recent, what do you guys think of the Manscaped article?
Let's just say I wasn't particularly impressed with it. Jesus.
Nothing to see here. Nothing to see here.
Oh,
Didn't. I mean, let's just say it was soul to soul. A little bit. Like, I think the Dementors may have taken that.
Going back to what Jar said, look, the pods and us chatting, this is our niche and whatever. And the big interviews we put out as single pods, so you can listen to and stuff like that. But the format kind of works as it is, and it's something that we like doing as well, like this.
Yeah, if I get a guest here, I've got to be serious. Oh, Mr. Dark Player, did you like when this happened? Bugger off. Let's talk about my walk-on. Let's talk about my walk-on song. I'm a 62 average. That's what you lot want to hear about.
I want to hear about that.
Do you guys get excited when darts-related categories come on? Yes, I do, because I got three pointless answers on pointless. When you had to name world champions, I got three pointless answers.
Very good.
John Boy Walton.
I don't watch
Yella Claxton, Tony David. All pointless. Go on.
Christian Kiss surely was a pointless answer, was he?
Yeah, it was pointless as well.
Yeah, but Barzi just forgot him.
Yeah, I just went for the three that I thought. Yeah. So yeah, look, you know, I love darts on pop quizzes and things like that.
I just love quizzes. I'm going to go and watch Bullseye till 1 o'clock in the morning and fall asleep on the sofa.
It'll take us 2 minutes to count out.
In one. Don't worry.
Right.
Don't worry. The special prize will always be a pissing speedboat.
Where do you live? Cancel Estate in Birmingham. Furthest from the sea. Have a speedboat.
Yeah. And
Smashing
prizes. Prize.
Don't get me wrong. I love Bullseye. My only criticism is Alan Carr presenting, and I like Alan Carr as a comedian.
I haven't watched it.
But I don't like him presenting Bullseye. It just doesn't work.
I get challenged on that.
As a comedian, I think he's brilliant, but just doesn't fit him presenting that for me.
Mark Levett is a big fan of that. I finished second in a quiz to Mark Levett once, and I'm itching for another go. I actually applied for the Chase a few years back. The last time I ever played the development tour, I got a phone call the day after from the talent team, missed it, phoned them back twice and didn't pick up. So I need to create a new account with a different email address so I can reapply for the Chase.
They'll beat you.
The Chase will be finished. The Chase will be finished. You got more chance of that than you got. Hang on a minute. Well, let's have a look. Where is he in the match play race?
Yeah, you answer next questions.
No, I'll go. No, all I'll say is that Aaron Beanie's got more chance of going to Blackpool than you've got of winning any money on the bloody Chase.
Malcolm says, Phil, what do you think of the bid from Man City from Kane? Look, they've got to put a few more millions of pounds on it yet. I'm sure they'll come back with a second and third bid. But negotiating with Levy is interesting.
That's an understatement. Massive understatement. Tight ass.
Yeah. But if they cough up the money, he'll go. If they don't, he won't. Levy's hard nose. Pay what he wants, or you don't get your player.
Also, everybody that was giving me abuse on Twitter the other day, saying that they've never spent more than 60 million on a player.
Oh, so this is a good question. This is a good question, boys. I like this one from Denver, saying, "Are there any players who should have joined the PDC from the BDO earlier than they did?" Good question.
Scott Waits. Yeah, agreed.
The obvious one. Martin Adams should. Look, I completely respect him, but I would have loved to have seen Martin Adams in the PDC. Would genuinely have loved it.
I think there was a time where you possibly could have had a go with Fitton or O'Shea, but I think they were past it a little bit. By the time the final excuse score.
Here's one. I know that he went on to win 3, but should Dozer have gone after winning the first one?
No.
If he hadn't won the next 2, maybe. But the fact he did win 3, joined that elite club at Lakeside to do so, and picked up £300,000 in the same time span, massive.
Yeah, Hanky should have gone earlier.
There's only one player. There's only 2 players that have won back-to-back Lakeside World Championships. Glenn Durrant, Eric Bristow. He's an elite company. Regardless of what you might think of the BDO, and regardless of what you might think, to win 3 world titles on the spin takes some doing.
It's a good one for, again, getting to know us personally from Connor. What sports do you guys watch outside of darts?
Anything.
In everything. Absolutely everything. Me and Jarreth did cricket together, sat watch the F1 at the weekend. Honestly, the minute the Olympics comes around in 4 weeks' time, I'm an expert on everything.
Good night.
I'm an expert on everything.
We're watching everything. Yeah, we're watching everything.
Controversial. Yeah, but we never win proper medals at the Olympics.
What is proper medals at the Olympics?
Like sprinting, 100 metres and long
track and field.
Proper
track and field is a proper medal.
Yeah.
Track and field is a proper medal. I mean, dominated.
Clay pigeon shooting and things like that should not be in the Olympics. I can
so
go mad the weekend.
That put us top 3.
You sound like James Corden. You sound like James Corden from that sketch that he did the other day around about rowing.
Genuine. Again, can we just win proper ones? But the Olympics, I like track and field, but I don't get excited about the rest.
Sean says, don't get Jar started on the cricket. What are you on about? What are you on about, Sean? I love the cricket.
Huge boxing fan.
Scotstow, world's strongest man last night won by a jock, first time ever. Well, at least they won something. I thought they won the Euros on Friday. I can't lie.
But yeah, pretty much same as the boys. I watch
horse dancing.
and any sport, to be fair.
Yeah, I love pool. I played county pool for a bit. The Moscone is ridiculously good fun. Play a bit of golf, but don't really like watching it. I say play. I hack my way around 18 hours for a 4.5-hour walk.
I'm the other way. I can watch golf. I can't play golf, but I can watch it all day long. Like I was still up at 2 o'clock.
And the Masters.
One last night.
Ryder Cup and the Masters. Sit and watch that all day. Ridiculous. But other than that, I struggle. It's not.
There's only one. I mean, I only watch the golf. I only watch golf when it's the majors. That's it, really. But again, I'm a massive expert. As soon as it comes around, I'm like, yep, he's going to win it. Smash it out of the park.
And he said the American sports. Me and Jar love a bit of the NBA, love a bit of the NHL. Baseball's bloody boring to watch, but I can still tell you a bit about them. And the NFL, we've got me, Jar, Cam, and Brad, part of the team. Love a bit of the American NHL.
Sure, you can't mute me on Twitter, mate, because I'm not on it anymore. So don't worry about that.
I'm an expert in American football, isn't I, Jar?
Laces out, Barzy. Laces out. Also says, Jay asks, why is women in men's lacrosse different? Because I remember watching lacrosse loads at uni for when we were covering it back in the day. Women's and men's lacrosse is different because they can't hit them in the face in women's lacrosse. They don't want people to be hitting them in the face. So like in men's, you can wear the thing, and it's a quicker, and it's a quicker game. That's why as well.
I thought you said what's the difference between men's and women's lacrosse. I was going to go, one's probably tapered in a little bit, and one's for.
Oh dear!
For fuck's sake. Right.
Have we ever watched that? Sometimes, occasionally, Johnny. Rugby league, proper sport, behave. Union all day. Harlequins wants to come back, by the way. Up the boys.
I'm with them. I'm a northerner when it comes to this. I prefer rugby league to rugby union.
Yeah, we all do.
It's more exciting. It's more exciting.
I can't wait. Anyone up in Edinburgh at the weekend to go and watch the egg chasing? If anyone's up there watching the Lions, please let me know and I'll think about buying you a drink.
No. You're not going. I'm going to ring Nick. I'm going to get those
border
patrol steps
I'm not from the northwest. I'm not from the northwest, so I'm allowed to go. But if anyone is up there in Edinburgh,
I'm going to ring Nick. Get those border patrols up.
Well, like I say, if anybody is in Edinburgh for the egg chasing on Saturday to go and watch the Lions play Japan, let me know and I will think about buying you a drink. I stress the word "think about." Depends on if I'm in a good mood or
not. But guys, you've absolutely smashed it this evening for us. Absolutely love just chatting along with you in the chat room for the last 20 minutes or so. Getting to know you guys more than anything as well. That's what we do here. It's not just, obviously it is massively darts orientated, but it's getting to know you guys so we can put characters to the names and everything like that as well, which is great. But the live lounge tonight absolutely smashed it as always. We'll be back next Monday as well. But the race for the match play hots up. Plenty of content coming along. So make sure you subscribe to Online Darts. Massively appreciate all your support that you give us. And there'll be news coming out soon of everything that is happening here on the channel. I've been Phill Bars this evening, joined by Jarleth and Jack Gobby Garwood. Gentlemen, it's been absolutely amazing to spend the last few hours with you, and we will see you next week. We have been Online Darts.
Let's go.